Hello, neighbor. Welcome to Shortmeadow. I'm nurturing an urban native wildflower sanctuary in the heart of Nashville that is a safe place where flora and fauna, as well as human beings, can flourish. The words we use to describe our outdoor spaces carry deep and ancient weight. They date back as far as the 3rd millennium BCE. They generally revolve around divine presence, royal power, and fertility, as well as a refuge for pleasure, entertainment, and reflection. They weren't just patches of grass, they served as earthly replicas of paradise, where the gods were believed to reside and where civilization was thought to have originated. It was the cosmic center, what scholars call the axis mundi, a spot where a sacred tree at the center connected heaven and earth. It was ultimately where humanity could commune with the divine. Now, in reality, the gardens that we remember, like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, weren't just only about the gods. It was a major power move for the sovereign. It was a way for rulers to say, I have dominion over nature and the power and the resources to make this happen. It showed off their wealth and their ability to bring life to dry and arid lands. They were spaces designed to mirror a landscape of fertility and abundance. The idea of the garden as refuge originates from both ancient cultural and religious traditions of sacred, enclosed spaces, and an evolutionary need for safety. In Chinese and Roman cultures, gardens acted as sanctuaries from urban stress, social pressure, and natural hazards. Quite often, they became places of reflection and pleasure. Against this backdrop, we aren't just talking about gardening as a hobby. We're talking about our enduring quest to reclaim a piece of paradise and find sanctuary in a world that rarely stands still. In a modern context, a sanctuary garden serves as a vital refuge. For decades, our landscapes have been girded in ways that keep nature out. Uh, we plant perfect, neat rows of exotic plants and trees. We install non-native turf grasses, and all of that creates biological deserts. True sanctuary garden reverses this. It is a space where our native flora, the sweet shrub, the woodland phlox, the switchgrass, um, are invited home. Our gardens become a sanctuary for the monarch butterflies on a 1,000-mile journey, but for the robin nesting in the dogwood, and for all those millions of soil microbes that are quietly turning our old dead leaves into new life. By planting what belongs here, we aren't just gardeners. We're providing a safe space to species, human beings included, that have really been pushed to the brink by urban sprawl. So how do we create a place where all of life, from the smallest of pollinators to human beings who tend it, where all of us can flourish? It requires a shift from decorating to designing for life. Just like a forest, the garden sanctuary needs layers. Tall canopy trees for nesting, mid-story shrubs for cover, and ground covers to protect the soil. This vertical diversity is what will allow wildlife to find shelter in your garden. It also means incorporating a small pond for bluegill fish or a simple bird bath that transforms a garden into a destination. Every living thing needs water. The food comes from the plants themselves, the seeds, the nectar, and the insects that the native plants host. And then, for us to flourish, the sanctuary must be accessible. We include safe spaces to interact with nature and for personal reflection, like a quiet bench for observation or a path that meanders through a small woodland garden. When we design this way, the enclosure doesn't feel like a fence. It feels like a hug. It's a place where we too can find immunity from the noise of the world, relearning what it means to belong to the land. In a garden sanctuary, spring isn't just about aesthetics. It's about waking up the ecosystem while protecting the beneficial insects that spent the winter in your leaf litter. The goal is to transition the site from its dormant winter state into an active growth phase without disturbing the life cycles of local pollinators. This means avoiding the temptation to rake everything to bare dirt. Many native bees and butterfly larvae overwinter in the duff lair. Now that the temperature is around or above 50 degrees most days, it's a great time to do a deep cutback of the stalks that overwintered as shelter for hibernating insects. One of the things that I've learned is that instead of hauling away old dead stems, I just now cut them up into 6-inch segments and leave them on the ground. It's a great way for them to act as a slow release mulch, and they also provide nesting cavities for solitary bees. In early spring, many non-invasive plants, like spreading hedge parsley and Asiatic dayflower, come out before many native species. Take the spreading hedge parsley. It's beautiful when it comes out. It fills empty spaces, but by the time it flowers in June or July, it's already shaded out many smaller native spring ephemerals. On the other hand, Asiatic dayflower creates a monoculture mat that acts as a physical barrier to native seedlings. Hand pulling is most effective before these plants set seed. As we continue to nurture our garden sanctuary, spring is a great time to introduce new native plants. Like human beings throughout the world, we recently celebrated Earth Day here in Nashville. Thanks to the Nashville Tree Foundation, we were able to bring home this free American Beauty shrub. Nothing beats American Beautyberry in autumn. This North American native thrives in open woods, forest edges, and thickets right here in Middle Tennessee. It's planted in partly shady to sunny spots, and it has these striking magenta berries. The beautyberry can be used as a structural focal point in a shrub border or masked for a vibrant seasonal screen. I'm planting this one here so that it will serve as a living screen, tucking the HVAC unit out of sight while framing the view up toward what will eventually become our greenhouse. This woodland phlox will grow quietly underneath this beautiful sweet shrub just now beginning to bloom. Nothing beats woodland phlox in spring for soft blue flowers in partly shaded spots. This North American native thrives in dappled shade in open woods, partly shaded meadows, and along stream banks. It can be used for thick ground cover or for edging. It's a favorite in the wild garden due to its attractive flowers in early spring that require little or no maintenance. As gardeners, we're trained to look for what's wrong. We hunt for the invasives, we plant wildflowers, we keep track of our progress. We spend so much time working in the sanctuary that we sometimes forget why we're doing all this. Stop. Put down the trowel. This is the most important maintenance task of the day. When you stop moving, the garden starts talking. Listen. That low hum isn't just background noise. It's a carpenter bee vibrating the pollen loose from a bloom. That rustle in the leaf, that's a brown thrasher doing the work you can't do, turning the soil for insects. We don't just plant for the view, we plant for life. If you don't stop to witness it, you're only doing half the job. In the rhythmic cycles of a native wildflower sanctuary, we find a steadying force that counters the frantic pace of modern life. By observing the slow unfolding of a spring bloom or the steady return of migratory birds, we are reminded that growth and restoration require patience rather than pressure. This connection fosters a sense of groundedness, where the simple act of breathing fresh air and listening to the wind reduces stress and clears the mind. Ultimately, as we tend to the earth tends to us. offering a reciprocal relationship that heals our spirits while we heal the land. By creating space for nature to thrive, we inadvertently create a sanctuary for our own well-being. Thank you for visiting with me today. I enjoyed our visit and look forward to seeing you the next time here at Shortmeadow.